مساء الخير و very nice تبقى معاكم كلكم. انا هحاول اتكلم عربي as much as I can، بس انا مش عايش في مصر and العربي بتاعي وحش قوي. ثانويه عامه 25 من 50 فنو as my young son قال لي يعني most likely I got 22 and they give me 3 point to make me pass. يعني رأفة. Thank you. شكرا للدكتورة دعاء على الانفيتيشن. My name is Ehab Hammad. I am a doctor as well, but actually I just recently got my PhD. I work all my life as an in the business. More street experience. I work as an executive at the 5th largest bank in US. I led a very large group, about 1,000 employees across the footprint in USA. And when I left the bank 2 years ago, I established my own company, my consulting company. It's called Cross World Consulting. And really is right now partner with something called Keller Institute. I work with Keller Institute. They are an awesome team who work more in innovation, transformation, optimization of organization in US. More focus in the culture, transformation. Just tell you in nutshell, I don't worry about how many titles in front of my name, and I don't care. I want you to know when we go meet client, they don't care if you are a PhD. Even Keller Institute asked me to get my PhD because for 500 Fortune company in US, they require PhD. And I took also my coaching certification for executive coaching from the ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, which is an international group. Also, I am a life coach as well, certified life coach. If anyone needs support or help, let me know as well. Who's with me today? My best coach. And my best coach is actually my lovely wife, Dr. Ehab Hammad. She will introduce herself.
So I'm a pharmacist. I have my bachelor's and my doctorate in pharmacy from the United States. I have a master's in biomedical writing, and I also have a master's in clinical and pharmacovigilance regulation. So, as Dr. Iman had mentioned, I've been through various jobs. I've been in community, clinical, and in industry. So.
Thank you. One thing to give you an example, and that's my pleasure to be with all of you today. In my PhD, you always get one person when you do your dissertation and so on. And one asked me, he said, "You said your best coach is your wife. What did you learn? Name 3 things." And we start talking for 45 minutes. He's been drilling me. Why did I choose my wife as my best coach? And really, it's very simple. Direct. She has the best interest and she cares. In order to I have the trust. In order to, that's always you're looking for when you look to the coach. And you heard it today from Dr. Iman, Dr. Omar, and Dr. Sally. You heard quite a bit, which all of what we heard today are connected to each other. And you're going to see the same thing you're going to see right now. You're going to see everything is connected. We're talking about science and business. I'll be honest with you, I think Dr. Iman, you mentioned is no difference. You said everyone here has the skill. Yes, believe in yourself and you can bring it out. Let's go. We're talking about possibility to extraordinary result because that's my forte. I do a lot of merger of banks in US. I did a lot of optimization when we work with Keller Institute right now. We go to company, we went to communication company, like about $500 million company, and we try to do an optimization, culture transformation. And I'll be honest with you, in US, we need to do it for one thing. And if someone tell you this is not the purpose, they are kidding and leave them. When they said, I do it because I love it, I don't do it for money. Wall of crap, excuse my language. That's not true. We do it, yes, because we have an intentional, but also it needs to make sense, and at the end of the day, need to be rewarded. You work every day to get rewarded. That's very important. And Arthur, I am going to ask you very quickly, if you think about possibility to extraordinary result, what comes to your mind? What, like, let's tell me, shout out, what that mean to you? Anyone?
Extraordinary
extraordinary ideas.
Extraordinary ideas. Awesome.
Out of the box.
Out of box. Okay, we hear a lot out of box. You hear this word a lot.
Filling gaps.
Filling gaps. I learned this in PhD. I found that when you do PhD, you need to address a gap, which is different than a business by chance, and you need to validate. And that's what took a hard time for me to adapt and accept, because we don't need to fill a gap. We need to be in the future. We need to be futuristic. We need to focus more on the future. But in PhD, believe it or not, you need to go and find a lot of research, what gaps they missed, and address these gaps and close them, validate it. And every time you need to do validation to move forward. We're going to go through this today, and we'll talk about it, and we'll connect extraordinary thinking, drive different results. Go ahead. We're going to start. Yeah, you can put them, 3 of them. I'll be honest with you, we already talked about it. We're going to talk about the link between thinking and result. You mentioned this early today, and how you can do this. We're going to talk about constraints. You mentioned this as well. We talked about constraints. And we're going to talk about AI, which Soha will address this. Allow me calling you by your name, that's okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, and I tell you one thing we learned, and I learned in the business, and I want you to learn and leave it. One thing I leave you with today is declaration. You mentioned you were having an idea you'd like. You need to declare it. You need to begin with declaration, and that's how to come to life. And when it comes to life, when you share it. If you don't share it, it stays with you, and someone else make it happen. In order to, first thing, declaration. I am going to lose 20 pounds. How many of us said this? Let me start by myself. Okay? And it didn't happen. Why? Because with declaration, it comes accountability. And I need to talk to the people surrounding me. I told you, my wife is my best coach. Why? She has the best intention for me. She tell me exactly, no, that's not good. The presentation doesn't make any sense. Or when I was writing my PhD, she was telling me, your doctor actually is right. You're wrong. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm right. He's wrong. I'm not accepting this. And she said, if I'm from him, I'll drop you. Right, I'll be honest with you. But that's one thing. In order to, declaration is very important. Let's go to the next one, please. Thank you. Sure.
I just wanted يعني عايزكم تعرفوا مين بيتكلم معانا. اللي وراه كيلر انستيتيوت. ما هي كيلر انستيتيوت؟ دولة اللي ورا بورصة نيويورك، بورصة اليابان. فاحنا بنبتدي من واحد عنده فكرة، وبعدين انكيوبيتر، وبعدين شفنا دكتور عمر، دكتورة سالي، بس آخرة المطاف اللي عايز استثمار مفيش حاجة بعد كيلر. يعني الراجل ده لا مفيش حاجة بعد كيلر. يعني الراجل ده جاي من literally the top of the world. فبليز pay attention. إن الراجل ده يجي من نقابة الأطباء في مصر. It's a rare opportunity. اللي عايز يستثمر ويكبر البيزنس ده الخبرة بتاعته هيديها لكم في نص ساعة. خبرة يعني حكي بالك how long in the US?
40 years.
40 years. خبرة. And he was the vice president of PNC Bank, the 5th largest bank in the world. فالخبرة هتاخدها في نص ساعة. اللي عايز يعمل بيزنس مش هتاخدوها في أي مكان تاني. فبليز pay attention.
Thank you, Yusuf. I greatly appreciate it. Let's go to the 3 P's, which that's exactly how I start with any client. Why? Positivity. Positivity is very important. You need to feel good about yourself. That's very critical. It's very important. And when you think about yourself, when you think about positivity, you think about how I'm going to love my kids. I have 3 kids, Muhammad, Adam, and Zakaria. And after when you think about it, 37 years old, 32 years old, and 24. And after when you think about it, I love 3 of them the same.
Who's getting married?
Adam. Okay, the 32 years old. Thank you for asking. But when you think about how I love them equally. But do I coach them equally? No, I don't. Okay, and why? Because they are different. In art, we need to treat people in different, but you need to show them when you coach them that you love them. And that's another thing. When you work with the nurses, when you work with the pharmacist, when you work with the receptionist, when you work with the concierge, you need to make sure that you care. That's how you're going to win their heart and mind. That's what the people will do for you if you win their heart and mind. I give you an example. My hardest coach was Julie Tate in the United States. At one time, she was coaching me. I was having a problem with my older son. It was very emotional for me. And she said to me, I find out the problem. And what do you think was the solution? She said, maybe you need to give him a hug. That was the solution. That's actually a solution. See how it was easy? And I did. And I'm not a huggy person. And also I don't give people hugs and all of this stuff. But in the meantime, my coach saw this in me, and immediately she said to me, maybe you need to start to practice. Maybe you need to start showing that you love this person. Artu, I'm asking you to do the same for positivity. Positivity takes you to possibility. Because if you feel good about yourself, now you're going to do things good. You're going to start dreaming. You start really feeling good. I stay in possibility. I can cause the future. And nothing without performance. If you don't deliver, you fail. And by chance, failure, we heard today word failure from Dr. Omar. Actually, failure is not bad. I failed in the United States when I went to the United States, okay, number of times. I applied for number of jobs and I didn't get it. But I learned. You need to learn and how you're going to take yourself to the next level. And you heard, which is something very close to my mind, and I'm going to say it because Dr. Sally said it. It changed the world. Change the world, that's all what about in this room today. When you leave today, you need really to understand how can you adapt the world to your vision, not becomes part of the world. Okay, let's distinguish this. I know this is not in the presentation, but Dr. Sally really today caused me a breakthrough to share this with you. Now I'm shifting my presentation because it changing the world means a lot. Means that you need to change the world around you. You can't say, I am going not to do this, I am going to have a breakdown because the circumstances.
Yes.
What's happened when the circumstances around you and you become part of the world? You became a victim.
Yes.
You can't be a victim because you lose all your power. The power in you is to be declared, to really recharge yourself and believe in yourself and believe in who you are. And you can change the world around you. Great example comes to my mind right now. Very easy for you to connect. كلكم سمعتوا عن Gandhi in India. Anyone here? And Gandhi said, India shall be free. He declared this. India was occupied by United Kingdom, but was one person. And he declared, I'm going to declare that India shall be free and we're not going to use one bullet. Nobody believed him. And everyone was joking around him, everyone laughing. But you know what Gandhi did? Enroll people in his vision, make them part of their world, one at a time. And one at a time, and really that's what happened. You start where you heard from Dr. Omar today, where the scalable became scalable. People, really, this becomes a mass. And at the end, India became free. In order to just connect these things in yourself, don't become a victim. When I went to the United States and I didn't get a job, I'll be honest with you, and I went to every job you think about it by chance. I wasn't became an executive in the 5th largest bank. I work as a security guard. I work as a dishwasher in a restaurant. And all of this while I'm going to school. And I said to myself, I have a choice. I can go back in Egypt and work as I did as an accountant, or I can fail and, and go back, do whatever I did. And so what? I can go back to where I came from and establish my life. Or I said, no, I can continue on, and I'm going to change this. And that's a power in you. That's a power you have. You can change the people around you. You need to make sure, but take it one at a time. You can't go and change mass. You need really to start getting people to believe in you, to believe in your idea. An idea starts by chance, small, tiny, and start becoming bigger and bigger and becomes a scale.
Did you meet Dr. Soha there or here?
I need her always next to me. I'll be honest with you, because I need her there as well, because she's outstanding. If we go to the next slide, Soha will share and take us through an exercise in 2 minutes.
So all of you should have a pen and paper.
Okay.
So this is going to be a 2-minute exercise, and I'm going to give you the first 15 seconds. You're going to write your name in your dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, you're going to write your name in with your right hand. I'm going to say start, and then you will say stop, okay? Start.
Just write your name with your dominant hand.
Okay. There seems to be still a couple more people, so I'll give them a few more seconds.
Write our name?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. 15 seconds to put right
Why?
here. Because it's going to be in the test. You're done? Everybody's done? Okay. Now switch. Write your name with your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, write your name with your left hand. Okay, stop. Okay. How many of you felt comfortable writing in your non-dominant hand? So when you're making decisions or you're working, you're on autopilot. Why? Because it's your comfort zone. You're writing with your right hand, something that you do automatically. You're not thinking about it. But when you tried to write with your left hand or your non-dominant hand, what happened? You really had to stop. Your brain had to work. You had to think about it. You were focused, and you needed to be intentional on how you do it. So as leaders, we have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. You can use it, actually. Great job. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the next. But you can use this exercise by chance. This is not copyrighted. Some of the slides copyrighted. Let's talk about reality. Reality represents our current, what we call it, current result in US. This is not bad. Nothing wrong about current result. What current result is? Our current action, our current thinking, give me my current action and drive my results. And that's what we call in US is business as usual. Like a circle, it's business as usual. Nothing wrong with business as usual. And people will get an incremental lift. Like we say, people always in business as usual. I am going to, to go 10% this year. Next year, I'm going to increase by 3%. Or if I have a clinic or urgent care, if I have an urgent care, urgent care number of patients, let's say 300, I'm going to increase it to 330. I'm going to increase it by 10%. The number of patients we capture every year. That's really what we call it business as usual. And we say that really is not bad, but you're not going to see the growth. And that really is, you're not going to see it. For example, reality here, like student. I remember always I use a student with my kids exercise. I always say is C student. If you are a C student, and C student always going to say, to improve, I am going to be a B student. And I always tell my kids, why you can't be an A student? What's stopping you from becoming an A student? Why B student? B is not bad, Dad. He's right. In Arto, you can say, I'm talking he, because I have 3 boys. We don't have girls. In Arto, I don't say, I should say when I present he or she, but we don't have, she need to deal with 4 boys at home. You can imagine. But in the meantime, this is what is very important. A, B, C, think about that. Or C, B, A. In Arto, it's, you need to think about it is my business as usual. Can I move from C to B? If I'm a student, can I increase my patient by 30? Do I keep my current patient? I'm happy. Or what do I need to do different from this? Opportunity gap to capture, it's very simple. I'm going to go from C to B. That's a gap to capture. That's an opportunity. But possibility, that's my dream. My dream to go from C to A. That's a dream. I am going to lose 20 pounds. At the beginning, I am going to be #1 doctor in research for this specific. I am going to close my research and submit my paper by end of the first quarter. When it comes to possibility, 3 things you need to think about it. Because if you know it, is not a possibility. #1, you don't know how. #2, your idea about the business, you don't know how. In order to the first thing, I don't know how. In order to, I'm declaring this. I am going to say I'm going to do something I never done before. Okay, that's the possibility. That's something I didn't do before. I don't know how. That's very important. And what's the reward I'm going to get? What's the objective? Dr. Omar talked about it. We need to determine the objective. In order to, I need to be focused on the objective. And start backward. If you start finding that you are writing the same thing, and we did this number of times in financial institution all over, we tell the people, you know, here is the possibility. Write down how can we do it. And we find the people getting piece of paper and start writing 1, 2, 3 very quickly. And you capture and you say, is that what you're doing today? And you find, yes. Okay, take this piece of paper and shred it. Because really is not breakthrough thinking. And you mentioned this at the beginning. If you find yourself, you are doing the same thing. You've been doing, if I'm a C student and I study every day, say 1 hour, and I play games 12 hours, do I going to become a B student? No, even I declare it. But I don't know how. In order to, I need, because you don't need to know how, you need to get direction. You need to get discipline. The second thing you need is discipline. Discipline around your way of thinking. That's very important. And the last thing, which is very important, you need to believe in yourself. You don't allow, again, fit people in your wallet. You don't allow the people to move you to their wallet. You must empower yourself. That's very important. Another example which Soha will take us through.
Okay, so this time I'm just going to need a volunteer, if you don't mind. Be something that you're working on, but you haven't reached your goal, or you're not reaching your goal.
Doctor said he wants to go. I volunteer.
You volunteer, great. Okay, so I'm just going to ask you 3 questions. And just answer the first thing that comes to your mind. You don't have to tell us what the situation is at work, but just answer these questions. There's no right or wrong answer, but just whatever comes to your mind first thing. Okay, so what beliefs drives the actions?
What beliefs drives actions? Fear.
Okay. What assumptions limit your outcomes?
Failure.
Okay. And what fears influence your decision?
Postponing, waiting for the right time.
Right. Okay. Okay. So we take all these 3 things. If you continuously focus on those things, you're always going to get the same result. The idea is for you to think above that. You know, you want to first. Sorry, I'm just trying to read here. in order for you to move above it and to reach your goal, you gotta look at all of your assumptions and your fears, but you have to let them go. You can't concentrate on that, because if you just concentrate on those things, you will always not get there. Okay, so for instance, if you are a manager and you're micromanaging your team, okay, the idea is that they're not going to get to the results that you want or expect of them just because of your micromanaging. Your fear or your assumption is that I'm the only one that can do the work, they can't. You know, I trust myself to do the work, but they don't. Your job as a leader is to build and develop people so they can do the job, not for you to do the job. And that's part of leadership.
Thank you, Saha. But fears is very important also. Who creates fears?
We it's a meeting.
Okay, in order to remember, fears is self-originated. Okay, I am not getting a job. I am fear now. I'm feeling, and even I believe in myself. I believe, but people don't get me in the interview. It's their fault. It's not my fault. In order to just remember, fears is self-originated in order to try to minimize the fears. And how can you minimize fears? Anyone?
Taking risks.
Taking risk. And what comes with risk? And reward. Remember, positivity. Think about that. Think about positivity. And because it's easy for us to go to failure, which failure is part of our life by chance. But in the meantime, also think about reward. You're going to get reward. Always remember rewards. Go ahead, raise your voice.
Risk is my important, the most important thing in my life. By risk, I can success anything.
Did you guys hear this? By risk, I can be successful. And risk, you get reward.
Let's say by Arabic, my أستاذي, my teachers, في المترو، خلينا نتكلم عربي شوية.
تفضل.
قال لي لو أنت عايز توصل للعربية معينة في المترو جاي في ظهرك ورصيف المترو زحمة جدا. هتوصل لها إزاي؟ مش عكس. لا. العربية قدامك والمترو جاي من ورا والناس زحمة، ازاي الناس هل متوقع ان الناس هتوسع لك؟ لو مشيت على طرف الرصيف وجازفت هيحصل ايه؟ ده مجنون وسعه. نفس السبب بيحصل لما تنجح توصل للي انت عايزه.
Great example. Okay, and we'll move on. Okay, and now we talked about ordinary versus extraordinary thinking, and it's all about state of mind. It's all in our way of thinking. Ordinary thinking, always safe, always incremental. You're not going to have a breakthrough. Extraordinary thinking, always bold, and something, remember, I said it early, you don't know how. That is very important. And another thing here, you need to fit the people in your vision. Enroll people. How many of you heard this word? You need to enroll people one at a time. We always learn in our life, we need to enroll people one at a time. That's really ordinary thinking versus extraordinary thinking. And what something is very important in when you do bold decision, you heard this word how many times today? Word innovative. Okay, you need to be creative. Innovation is very important. And we're going to move because we're going to talk about execution. If I'm moving too fast, tell me to slow down, but I'm just trying to get you back in time. Now think about this. No, go back. Okay. Sorry, no problem. Okay, great. Ordinary first, let's say I'm opening a new clinic. I'm a doctor, I'd like to open a new clinic. What comes to your mind very quickly? I'm going ordinary thinking, I'm opening, patient will come to my practice. That's right. That's a way, prioritize internal operation. Customer for me, it's transaction. They come, see the nurse, pay the fee, I get them in, they give them the treatment, the prescription and the treatment. They exit the business, no follow-up, maybe they come, maybe they don't, but I don't have a system in place. Use of data, very basic. Most likely I'm asking the nurse at the end of the day, how many patients walk in, what did you collect, how much money, and when to send it for deposit. Gross outcome, most likely no growth in this type of model, low retention, weak referral pipeline. In order to, when you talk about it, you're going to find it's not bad. That's business as usual. That's a system, and it's okay. It's not bad system by chance. We're not saying that something wrong here, but what we're saying is this is not really a breakthrough thinking. Let's say take a breakthrough thinking. Okay, let's look here to some, and this is by chance, right or wrong, we can write pages and pages in new breakthrough thinking for a new clinic. But it's very important is design first, in the first day, AI-driven patient targeting. Who I'm going to go, what demographics I'm going to go after, in order to I can understand the market area I'm opening my clinic in. I do quite a bit of study, build a partnership with local system. I need to reach out. How many pharmacies around me, and how many I need to introduce myself to the pharmacist, and I start really building this relationship. Go to the local gym, go to the community leader, understand really how many hospitals. I go to these local hospitals, I can get patient actually from the local hospital to my practice and vice versa. That is very important. I go to patient experience. Anyone heard about chatbot? Does this exist here? Okay, in R2, that's very important. And now people can go and log themselves in, and people can see everything, even the doctor have for them, they can see it in the chat as well. Care journey, reminder, follow-up, I'm going to check. Think about this. If a doctor sends you after 3 months, like that's happened to me, and the doctor say, thank you, Mr. Hammad, for visiting our practice. It's a time for you to follow up. That's what we talked about retina today. I'm diabetic. And the one thing is my eye doctor every 6 months is very disciplined. They tell me that I need to do a field test very quickly and do an eye exam with their practice. They remind me and they follow this with a phone call. Think about it if we establish something similar in best practice. Why this? This is the things we can invest in which lowers the cost of the healthcare. Because Dr. Sally mentioned in diabetic, when we talk about retina neuropathy, you're going to see big damage to the nerve. And also if you detect it earlier, that will lower the cost. But that's the things we need to think about it. How can we make this happen? Proactive, from a data reporting, and you need also to ask the patient for referral. Nothing wrong. We call it in the United States, nothing wrong to ask for referral. That's why we are in business. You are a doctor. You can ask for referral. If you're doing a great job, you can say, you now come into my practice. I've been doing a great job for you. Any friends, any family member, here's my business card, hand it to them. I'm doing an ethical thing, nothing wrong with that. I'm providing service. I am not asking you to give me money. I'm not giving you in exchange money for referral. Absolutely not. But I'm asking you with a word of mouth to become my biggest marketing campaign. Marketing doesn't need money. Marketing comes through experience and words. Remember, second thing you learned today. Marketing doesn't need money. Marketing need a word of mouth, that's very important, and great experience. Great experience will differentiate. That's people will come back. It's very, very important. And very important for all of us to understand that asking for a referral, follow up with the patient is very important, because that's part of our job. I think you mentioned show your heart.
Yes.
Okay. It's
beyond the code.
Beyond the code.
Making human while practicing medicine.
I'll be honest with you, I struggle with this. I'm going to be vulnerable, and I struggled with this in Egypt. I didn't feel well. I went to the doctor. I wasn't very happy. My experience wasn't great. So I was with me. So I have very strong exchange with the doctor. Really was very tough. Very, it's big doctor, big. It's a big name doctor. You need to wait 6 months to see him, but in the meantime, we're able to get through, people and connection to get and all of this stuff. But the experience was horrible. I was shocked that the people are coming from villages and waiting on the stairs to see these doctors. I'll be honest with you, if for me, I was going to walk out and say to everyone, don't waste your time.
What was the problem?
It's more, he's more, let's keep it in art so we don't get things in more, but was an issue more related to his specialty, brain and nerve, and so on. In art too, that's really مخ وأعصاب. And our experience was miserable.
Communication, you cannot communicate well?
He has an assistant. In order to let me tell you, has an assistant. The assistant takes a case first. After that, he walks in, and the assistant told us to stand up because the doctor is walking in. And I said, absolutely not. So the heck with you. We're not going to stand up because that's not a practice we do in the United States. If the doctor comes, he need to come stand and he need to talk to us and so on. In order to the assistant start panicking and all of this stuff, the doctor comes and said, okay, what is the issue? He tried to explain to him and start asking me question and ask Soha to step, I think, out out of the room. And at this time, that was enough for her, and that's triggered everything from there. But that's an experience. Why I mentioned this personal story, because this experience, don't accept it. And I will ask you, and don't practice it, and don't tolerate it. Because if you accept it or you practice this, I'll tell you is not great. In order to people will not, at one time, I am sure people will not come back. But I'll be honest with you, his clinic were very crowded. I'm just being upfront. I want you about breakthrough thinking here.
Culture difference, I think. Some sort of privacy here. Some doctors thought that they should talk with the patient individually or privately, apart from their wife, and because here things go like this. But maybe he didn't know that your connection like this, or it's just cultural difference.
It's a possibility. Everything is possible, but we told him how we feel. I'll be honest with you, he was 100% clear how we felt when we left his office. Wasn't any misunderstanding. I don't think he will welcome us in the practice anymore, but in the meantime, think about something happened in Egypt about breakthrough thinking, because something he should be very proud. And think about ordinary versus extraordinary. Something comes to anyone's mind? Let's go and see this example. Anyone remembers the hepatitis C?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's very powerful. Think about it. It moved from a medical issue to reframe, really, and it becomes a national mission. It's a declaration. Remember declaration by President Al-Fattah Sisi? That's will be clear. Nobody believed it. I'll be honest with you, I talked to a number of people. Nobody believes that it can happen. And look to what's happened here. I try to get you a summary that it can be 50 pages or 200 pages from this. From reactive care was more mass screening. They were every club. I was talking one time to my parents and they said they are in the club and they're going because they're going to do the test. Everyone got a certificate. You remember the medication. The medication was very expensive. Was even people were trying to borrow money to get access was 100,000. And they got the medication and they partner with World Health and they really were able to get subsidized. Egypt got subsidized because of the mission, because we were able to get this breakthrough and sell it to the World Health System, and we were able to get funded from this by the World organization from this perspective. It's very important to understand is really here that we changed extraordinary was the mobile clinic, reach rural and underserved area. That was very important. You saw digital tracking. It's the first time Egypt was doing digital tracking because the World Organization asked for that. She said, hey, World Health Organization said, I need to understand, I'm giving you all of these dollars, all of this money, I need really to see tracking. And the first time they did a digital tracking. And that was very important. And leadership, as I mentioned, were elevated the priority. In order to, again, anything is possible. Think about this massive, nobody believed it. And now it happened and no longer becomes an academia in Egypt. What it takes, that is very important. And Dr. Omar talked about execution in the morning. And you can tell that we are all connected. As you can tell, all of these are getting, I hope, all together. In order to execution is very important. And around the execution is discipline. I am going to declare I'm losing 20 pounds. It requires discipline. If I don't have discipline, I will never be able to do it. Because I will be like everyone else. After 3 months, I didn't lose any pound. In fact, maybe I put 2 more pounds. I need to change my lifestyle. Discipline comes with lifestyle. You can't say I'm going to do an execution and I'm going to lose 20 pounds and you don't change your lifestyle. Who are you kidding? Yourself. تضحك على مين؟ على نفسك. You need to be important from this. Require this decisive leadership. It's very important. I am going to stop smoking. That's decisive leadership decision. I am going to take my cigarette and I'm putting it to the side and that's it. That's declaration, but that's require a decision. Accountability. I have in my a book coming soon out. It's with the editor right now. I'll send it as I know you publish a few years ahead of me, and I love that. But I have a book is coming with the editor from an American university, and I decided to use an editor from Egypt actually to get a different view. And I like all of us are biased. Okay, that's all of us are biased. It's copyrighted, in order you can't use it. Just make sure this disclaimer. But it comes to accountability. When it comes to accountability, I define accountability after 35 years in the business is not about telling the people what you are doing wrong, because that's the biggest mistake. You need really to focus more on what they are doing right and bring the best out of them. That's by setting a target for people and reward them for it. I'm going to use the example Dr. Soha used early on when she asked you to write by your dominant hand versus your non. Remember this? If I come to you today, right now, and said write with your non-dominant hand your name 15 times in the next 15 minutes, how are you feeling?
Angry.
Angry. Go ahead. Uncomfortable. Irritated. That's when you tell people you're doing something wrong. That's how they are feeling. You need to get the message, to get them to really feel good. In the meantime, they need to have a discovery. In order to, accountability comes with discovery. Discovery comes from self-originated. You can't tell people you're doing something wrong. You need them to recognize in their own that they are doing something wrong. And you can tell I'm putting my coaching hat as a certified coach now. That's very important because you need to walk the people. You talked about, I think it was a doctor today, Dr. Heba, I believe. She mentioned something. You need to get her to speak out without us telling her, because we can't tell people what they are doing wrong. You need the people to have a discovery. And also, you need to reward them to feel good about what they are doing well, because they are not horrible, because otherwise you should fire them. And I'm okay to fire people, and I fire a few people in my career because it's okay because people have a choice. And if they decide not to do the job, that's a different story. But if the people decide to do the job and they are struggling, that's part of us to help them to find the way. But through them, through self-discovery, through rewarding them. In order to, let's take my son, and this is true story when I say this, and I'm worried that is going to see them, two of them coming this week from US. In order to, we need to make sure is what we say here, stay here, okay? That's make sure about that. Is when I look to Muhammad and Adam and Zachariah, Muhammad, always when we went in his school, he always got every certificate in sports. You can name it. He's a black belted. He can do 100 push-ups and da-da-da. He can run tracks. He play lacrosse. All of this. Never get any certificate in maths, in anything. Adam, he's study, I'll call it very good, passing, doing well, B student. Zach he's an A+ student. In his own, he just graduated, he's an engineer, computer engineer, and all of this stuff, he think him and his mom, that's what he believes, better than myself and other two kids, my other brother, his other brothers. But in the meantime, we didn't. In order to my coaching to Muhammad is completely different. And I need really to motivate him to making sure is in a different style than when I motivate Zach. Because Zach is different. Zach reads a book every day. He orders, it costs us a lot of money buying books online and buying books every day. That's really a true story. Until now, actually, we're still paying for his online booking. I find that's still coming in my credit card. And but in the meantime, it's a good problem to have. But in the meantime, you can't coach him the same way you coach Muhammad. Did you see the difference? And did you see Adam in the meantime? He's a middle child, has a middle child syndrome. He believes I love Zach. His mom loves Muhammad, which is true by chance. And nobody loves him. Even he's the one getting married now and everything.
I just want to add one more.
Sure.
So as a leader and as a mother or as a father, you have to adjust yourself in how you coach each one of them. Okay, so it also comes to you to be able to adjust yourself and in the way you coach them or the way you discuss any kind of an issue with them, or even in work, in your employees. You can't talk to everybody the same or coach everybody the same. You have to really connect with each person, and that's how you can get the best out of them.
And you can
genetic or educational, the difference between more or less they have the same genes.
Correct.
This is different educational from childhood or other things.
They went to the same schools. They Adam and Muhammad had the same teachers most of the time. But one was more athletic, one isn't, and that's okay. I have to accept them both and realize that this person isn't, Adam is not going to be good or as fast in track and field. I'm not going to push him necessarily to go to track and field like his brother. So I have to be able to identify what makes him good and what he can succeed in.
I ask about the great difference between them.
Mm-hmm. It just has the way each person learns,
Some people many risk factor, not the causality. There's many risk factor for any behavior, any education, any risk factors, not causality. Risk factor is different from person to person.
Absolutely, because their tolerance, their behavior, how they interact. Adam is very social. Adam can walk in this room and he can shake hands with all of you and talk for hours and ask you about your family, your kids, and all. Muhammad will not. Muhammad will be very firm, sitting on the side, saying hi, and start taking side of the room, and that's it. But each one is different. I'm going to move because of the time. Okay, and here is one thing is very important. You have one in the left-hand side and how mind work. A lot of us Our mind is being like act, measure, learn, adjust. That's how always our mind work. It's always working, hey, we're going to act, we're going to make a decision, we're going to measure what we did, and we're going to learn from it, and we adjust. A new way of thinking is always you'd like to be continuous improvement. And that's again, change the world, adapt the other people to your world. That's continuous improvement. That's where you go in a country like United States. You will see that always they will say to us, that's not okay. We don't want 10% increment. We need 30% increment. It never happened before. We don't care. We need, how can we improve? What do you need to eliminate? How are we going to do an optimization? How are we going to get more people to be engaged? How are we going to get people more involved? That's what's very important. In order to remember for yourself, when you live as a doctor or as a student, you need to find out how I'm going to change my way of thinking. How I'm going to have a continuous improvement. What do I need to do different? And you need to be serious and hold yourself accountable for it. If you, and I'm not going to go through reward and recognition. Always recognize yourself. You heard this? People say, are you crazy? You're asking us to recognize ourselves? The first recognition and the most important recognition is you feeling good about who you are and recognize yourself for what you accomplish and what you cause. Don't wait for anyone. Don't wait for anyone to tell you you're doing a good job. You tell, if you at the end of the day, you go and you leave your practice or your hospital or your clinic or your pharmacy and you say, you know what? I can sleep well. I did a great job. That's very important because that's what's going to motivate you to the next day. That's what's going to keep you going. That really is very important. That's your fuel. Self-recognition is very important, but don't wait. A lot of us waiting, even in marriage, a lot of us sometimes waiting, you know, I'm waiting for someone to tell me, good job. No, I don't need her to tell me good job. I can tell myself, and she's going to say, oh, they always recognize himself that he's doing a good job. But in the meantime, in reality is, don't wait for anyone. Go ahead, you want to say something? Okay, yeah. But that's very important. Now we can go. And Artu now is Soha is going to talk about it because Soha is doing in part of her job. By chance, my PhD was in immunization AI before Soha gets started. What that means is, you know, AI when it came to the US market, some things really was very important that a lot of companies took AI and eliminate jobs. And my research and my validation in this work is we said this is a mistake. Why this is a mistake? Because yes, AI is very important and will create efficiency, will improve time. But in the meantime, you need to be careful. Eliminating a lot of people will be high risk because we need human being to make the decision. In order to, Dr. Sally today show you a lot chatbots and show you a lot of AI, if you recall, about the doctor. And you can see even you can see in USA, actually you don't need to be on the doctor in the same office. So you can be in your phone and the doctor asking you to put your phone and they can see your mouse. And they can tell you, say, whatever is, oh, let me see your ear. Believe it or not, that's happening today. But in the meantime, and everything captured with AI. But remember, at the end of the day, the doctor is accountable in US with a malpractice insurance if he missed diagnosing any patient. In order when he chooses a case to be used, for example, over a video, that's a decision he makes and responsibility he takes. But in the meantime, what's very important, that the AI can enhance the doctor decision, but not making the decision. In order to the one thing I want you to take from AI, that's always, even for research, AI, you can say, you can go to a research and saying, write me 50 pages about diabetes. Okay, that's great. You will generate 50 pages from, you know, Grok, or if you use ChatGPT or whatever is a platform you're going to use. But in the meantime, validation, we're seeing this in a student right now, using ChatGPT and don't validate the links, and we find out that all the links are hallucination. In order to saying this to you, she's going to walk us in 5 minutes, few minutes, but I really enjoy and a pleasure to be with all of you, and I learn a lot from Dr. Shakir, Omar Shakir, and Dr. Iman and Dr. Sally. Really is been terrific benefits, and if next time, if I get the opportunity to come back, I will be my pleasure. Thank you.
So just for a few minutes, we're going to shift here to the use of AI. So in my work, I use AI, okay, but it's in a closed system based upon the organization. So it's in a closed system, so we have access to the open AI. So when I'm referring to open AI, it's like ChatGPT, all of those, Gemini, but we have a platform that we use at work. And what's important here is that understanding the use of AI, okay? It has to have a purpose. So the question isn't necessarily, can I use AI in my work? No. The question should be is that what problems do we have and how we can utilize AI to help us solve it better. Because AI is a tool, okay? You are finally the decision makers, you as a clinician. So when we use it with a purpose, it actually provides us with a meaningful tool that helps us in our job. So trusting AI without losing clinical judgment. Okay. And like I said, AI is not the decision maker. It is a tool that helps us make that decision, okay? We can recognize that AI can provide us with suggestions based upon the information that it's being given. Always know that it's based upon the information that you provided, okay? So if you don't provide it all of the information, it's not going to give you the right output. That's what we refer to it as, okay? You always validate, so you need to confirm the output or the suggestions that it's providing you based upon what you see. Okay, so you need to validate, double check with the guidelines, ensure that what it's suggesting to you matches what the guidelines state, is compatible with the patient that you're seeing. It doesn't see the patient, you're only providing it data and information, right? You have to be the final decision maker. You have to be able to evaluate the clinical risk of it. If I just accept this recommendation based upon the output that it provides, will it cause any harm to the patient? Okay. AI doesn't have any ethical, abilities to think about this. It's you who have to make that decision. And in all of the information and all of the trainings that we provide to our staff with regarding to the AI or using AI, always tell them, AI is not to replace you, okay? You are a clinician, you are a doctor, you're the pharmacist. It is here to help you. Okay, so some of you may have heard of the use of prompt or instructions to get what the output is, okay? So there are certain things that you need to understand with regarding to using an AI model, right? If you go to a restaurant and you say, I want a hamburger, you're going to get a hamburger. But is it going to be what you actually want? Who knows, right? Right. But when you order a hamburger and you say, I want it, medium rare with cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, Kaiser roll, all of that, are you going to get what you asked for? Most of the time you will. The same thing with the AI model. So if you just ask a simple question, so sort of summarize the recent research on the effectiveness of early diagnosis in diabetes, you're going to get that, right? But the idea is that to be able to use the output to help you make that decision or recommendation, you have to provide it with a structured prompt. If you look online, you're going to find a lot of courses on prompt engineering. So I developed a prompt to help me and my work. That's about 29 pages long. So it's instructions that I provide my model on how I want it to be. I give it a role. I tell her, you are a pharmacist, you are a doctor. They have to be that role. You need to provide them a context. So what is the background? What is your, so that way they understand exactly what it is. So I'll give you an example, the way I use it. We get reports from a pharmaceutical company every year based upon a status of post-market required studies. So what is the status of it and all of that? We get hundreds and hundreds in a month, okay? So in order for us to sort of make it efficient, rather than needing to fill out a form, I'm going to instruct the AI model that I am using as its role as a clinical analyst to analyze the information that's being submitted and to fill out the form based upon what I have seen in this analysis. I provide it with reports, I provide it with the submission from the pharmaceutical company, and then it provides me the output. It fills section A, section B, section C, and section D. It identifies everything based upon that information. So something that could have taken me an hour now takes me about 10 minutes to do. But it's based upon how you communicate with the AI model, and that's the most important thing. And then before we start to use any kind of an AI model in any organization, we have to set a standard guidelines. So your staff would need to understand what are the guidelines, how to use this AI, what are the guardrails, so that way they understand what they can input into this type of model, such as confidential or proprietary information, what the legal requirements are, and that way they understand that this is how to use this type of tool and be able to trust it. And you trust your team and in your organization and your staff on using that type of model. And like I said, with this advanced prompt engineering,
Yeah, you can.
so that's about it. Yeah, that's it.
We will send you all the slides, everyone, and we really appreciate the opportunity and wish all of you the best. Thanks, Dr. Brian.
Sorry, we ran a little over, but I apologize.